as his castle if castle does, and I'm beginning to do some work for feedback on my UT4 level DM-Bunk, and I also want to talk about future plans with my other two UT4 levels, Chamber and the Ballast. I want to actually go ahead and begin fleshing them out with these extra blocky blocks. So I'm really enjoying the block building style. Just feels more natural to me. I guess I've already talked about that. It's actually been working out pretty well. Like, this is a pretty neat level. So the feedback that I've gotten so far from Flick Switch, what's up? And he mentions that this corner over here there's a sticky spot. So that I'm going to address by removing collision, player collision from this object, which should be pretty straightforward. It won't be block all, it'll be block. Where are you, projectile? Okay, just to make sure that I'm looking at it correctly. Visibility collision. Okay, yeah, it's bullet collision, but not player collision. So that's that one bit of feedback. Now the second bit of feedback, I found something really interesting in this style level design. It's like the bio rifle is too close to the wall, and he mentions could be moved a square towards the bridge, which is actually something that I find interesting, because the way this description mentions it is that it uses a block or a square as a unit measurement that is immediately conveyed to me as one square up. How? That right there sort of indicates to me that this is it's actually sort of an interesting phenomenon to happen there, because the way it works is that he conveyed to me immediately this one square block over, but I wonder if that is actually something that's a general thing about the entire level, is that these spaces might actually be easier to sort of digest as a player who's moving through them, because you know exactly the right size of all the squares. You have these levels actually end up, the blockiness of these levels in some ways may actually be easier to digest mentally. Which, I mean, I've kind of noticed that myself anyway, but if somebody can tell me, you know, hey, look, that's 3 squares over, I know exactly how much space that is. Oh, that's like that's a certain amount of space. I see these grids on the ground, and everything has a very uniform feel to it that is hard to it's difficult to pull that off with just brushes, because the brushes don't really show, like, you know, the overall size of the grid and everything like that. So in some weird ways, in a neat way, I just thought that was interesting. It's kind of an interesting observation. So I moved the bio rifle one over. I should probably put the ammo right with it. Actually, probably don't even need the ammo for it. There's still that big controversy going on about what exactly the bio rifle should be doing, and okay, so moving on to the next topic of discussion on this. My understanding right now is that there's still a whole bunch of controversy on exactly how the armor needs to be balanced in UT, and UT has always been a very top-heavy stacking game, even more so than Quake, and maybe Quake 2 would probably be the only Quake that even came close to what UT generally does anyway. The shield belt has absolutely always been a ridiculous item, which is pretty much just energy armor from Quake 2. But and and Quake 2 is a pretty damn stacked game. Like you can get ridiculous. The weapons in UT do a lot of damage, but uh, it's nowhere near as bad as Quake 2, I'd imagine. But it's still pretty bad. Well, anyway, I have 3 pieces of armor: a helmet, a jacket, and the thigh pads are on the other side. Now, that's not too bad, although it's kind of controversial. Like the helmet's kind of stupid. Maybe it barely even has a reason to be in the map, but it's sitting right next to the jacket, so you can grab the jacket in this. And on this side of the map, you're pretty much starved. You got thigh pads and health vials, but there's not much to stack on this side of the map. But I do give you a hit scan weapon, which, from my understanding, is well. Why do we still even have hit scan weapons? Is that really a hit scan weapon? Is that actually hit, or is it just a very fast projectile? I mean, I've seen plenty of UT3 or Unreal 3 games that didn't have that problem. I think Borderlands, all of the weapons fire projectiles, and that's on Unreal 3. Why is Unreal 4 using weapons that are hit scans still? I must be mistaken or not understanding this correctly. So anyway, uh, the first thing I'm thinking I'm going to end up changing, although I still haven't had a chance yet to really do any actual playtesting of this level, which really, really seriously needs to not be the case for much longer. I feel, and I just get some opinions on this, I feel like what I need to do to this level is ventilate a little bit. I'm not exactly sure how I want this connection to be. Maybe this teleporter will be here in the wall, and then there's a way to go down on this side, in this direction, down here. So like a tunnel that goes underneath, and maybe I can put the helmet down here, which might be a little bit better, and have it allow access to this teleport, which takes you up to the top. And so it's basically sort of like an under tunnel area for the down player to actually be able to get across or sneak his way all the way up to the very top of the map. Although I might have to question whether or not up here is really, I mean, an advantageous spot. It's got a really huge height advantage, but it puts you right in front of the bio rifle, which isn't really all that useful. The best thing that I think this spot's going to be is that it gives you immediate access all the way around to a jacket. But we have the keg, and talking about the problem when it comes to overstacking in a tournament setting, the keg of health is usually frowned upon, or at least seems to be something that a lot of players don't like. Your health doesn't count down on its own. It doesn't, degrade. So you can just stack like crazy. The only thing is that this keg is a fairly risky item to actually get because this teleport puts you in a spot that's visible from pretty much anywhere in the central atrium. I mean, it's not super horrible, but the way teleporting right now is also really janky, where you kind of like, I don't know why it does that, but it does. And you end up just like sitting there for like 400 milliseconds trying to like start moving forward again. You lose all momentum, which is not something I should be planning around. Well, anyway, with all of that, I just fixed both of the two issues that were brought up a moment ago. I'll put these ammos next to the weapon. I used to always make fun of people who do this. I don't know. Put the ammo like right next to the weapon. Maybe I should just delete these. It feels a little weird. Anyway, okay, so the feedback for this should be addressed. I'll make sure to name it Alpha 4. This isn't enough changes, I think, for me to release a new version of the level. Not yet, anyway. But I will, once I get a solid playtest on this or see somebody else playing pretty seriously, I'll make a decision on whether or not I want to add that extra connection on the bottom, or maybe you guys can give me some thoughts on how that should go. All right. Anyway, click like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.
The evil that satisfies your crave. The evil that satisfies your